Yes, I get it. Inflation, tariffs, and so on, whatever the reasons, the excuses are. But can you justify 39,000 yen for a 1x7 scale figure? Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven with your weekly figure news fix, this time around 4th to 9th of August 2025. So for this week, we have a long way to go for genuine PVC figures on pre-order. On the third-party side, things are a lot lesser, fortunately. And once again, for 2 weeks in a row, we have figure companies dropping way too many new figures on a single day, and that would be Friday. I don't know why figure companies do that. Why not spread it out? Announce your stuff from Monday to Friday. Why does everything have to be on Fridays? Maybe because most of you working a 9 to 5 corporate job would be slacking off on Fridays, anticipating the weekend. So you would be online a lot more. So they made sure that you see their new figures on pre-order. Anyways, let's get started with Hobby Link Japan, this channel's affiliate partner for genuine licensed PVC figures from Japan. And as usual, I will go through every single figure from the largest to the smallest scales, both male and female, and later on in the third party section, only female characters, because otherwise there would be too much stuff. So starting off with the largest scale this week, we have Cafe Stella and the Reaper's Butterflies, Natsume Shiki Cheongsam version, 1x3.5 by Alice Glint, 35,000 yen April release. Yes, I have seen this 2 or 3 times by now since last year's One Fest, in fact. And yep, Alice Glint has a set of, not exactly a set, more like a bunch of large figures that are exactly 1x3.5 for some reason. Not just Cafe Stella characters, they are characters from some other games, I think, but a really weird scale to be fixated on. But I'm not complaining about bigger figures. Stuff like this, they are actually not taking up that much space, especially if you opt for your own custom-made base, maybe rather than using, you know, the ones they provide, such as this one. I think this base over here is still taking up a bit way too much space. Yeah. Maybe they are just giving you that carpet over there. You are not getting the plastic disc underneath, right? It is just an acrylic piece after all. Moving on to the next one here. This is from last week. I covered her in OzGK. So this being a licensed figure, she is now available on HLJ by PPDF 1x4 scale linkage Ash bust figure for just 5,600 yen. I like this a lot, even though I'm not really a bust figure collector. I don't like this concept of bust figure, partial figures. But, I mean, this is more of like a cyborg, not human. And you can dismantle cyborgs. So I suppose that having a bust figure like this with no arms and no lower torso, no legs is acceptable, right? It is not human after all. This really reminds me of, what was the name again? Ghost in the Shell. It reminds me of that. Moving on to the next one, 1x4 scale. This is one of the main highlights this week. So as we all know by now, Alphamax is making 1x4 scale Azur Lane figures. Their Skytube is almost gone, man. Their Skytube branch making edgy figures. They are still around, just that I rarely hear any new figures from them nowadays. Now we have Kashino, fresh and sweet version. 36,000 yen July release. So back then, when I covered One Fest, I already discussed about this figure. And you know what? Now that I see the official product pictures from the company, it looks even better than what I saw in the One Fest images. Maybe because the One Fest images, the quality wasn't great. Or maybe that was a prototype that was still partially finished. That is the more likely scenario. I think these sample pictures over here from Alphamax, they look a lot more polished than the One Fest pictures, right? Maybe before that, they did not apply any clear coating, stuff like that. So the more polished part that I have noticed is the face and the hair. The paintwork on the hair looks more detailed right now, like the way they gradient the dark brown, right? The paintwork is really nice, and the face is like, I don't know, looks a bit sharper, a bit more detailed, a bit like there is an improvement overall compared to what I've seen just weeks ago. So this is a very tempting proposition, I would say. It is a very good pre-order for Azur Lane fans. Granted, back in the OneFest video, once again, I said that I would prefer the Apex Toys 1x7 scale version because she comes with a milk tank and some accessories, which is nice. But if you like it big, I think you can't go wrong with this. I would rather take this over a free-ink 1x4 Barney version. No, take this. Yeah. Moving on to the next one here, another 1x4 scale Azur Lane figure but by free-ink. Joffrey Blessing's First Flight, 30,000 yen only, February release. Alright, for once, this is something I can recommend from free-ink because the price is somewhat reasonable for a 1x4. Will she bin once again? I think I need to discuss with you guys about this figure binning part in a separate video. I'm afraid that the future of anime figure collection as a hobby is not very bright, and I'm not just talking about increasing prices within the US because of tariffs, but there are several other factors which I think I'll discuss it in a separate video. Yeah. In case you guys are unaware of the de minimis part about the tariff in the United States, it will be ending in 2 weeks, 29th of August. So my prediction was way off. In my previous video, I said that things could change after the midterms election in year 26, but apparently, no, they're bringing it forward. The de minimis exemption is ending in 2 weeks, 29th August, which is sad, yeah. Anyways, that is for another day. I'll discuss it in a separate video. We are going off track, so now getting back to this figure pre-orders, this week's I mean. Now we enter a 1x6 scale territory. There is another 1x4 as an exclusive in AmiAmi later. So now at the 1x6 scale section over here, we have this figure of Moon Goddess Luna Deluxe Edition. This is something I covered last week on AmiAmi. She wasn't available yet on HLJ, finally available today on a Friday. 24,500 yen for the DX with the wall scroll, and the standard version is 23,000 yen. Once again, yeah, very unique figure. Moving on to the next one here, these are the new stuff this week. 1x6 scale concept Masterline Grand Blue Fantasy Siegfried DX version by Praman Studio, just under 120,000 yen. February release, that would be year 27. Yeah, not next February. So as usual, if you go for the DX version, you're getting a lot more extra parts, extra accessories, which in this case, for this Siegfried, I would take the DX version because he comes with a nicer sword. A bigger and more badass sword. Because the standard version, this sword looks nice as well. I mean, you know, it is slimmer, but it is still plenty detailed. This one is just under 100,000 yen. But the sword is not the only extra part you're getting. You're getting 2 head sculpts as usual. They have pictures over here. Yeah, these are the stuff you're getting for the DX1. 3 head sculpt, not 2, 3 of them. So the 20,000 yen premium is actually not too bad on top of an extra sword over there. Weird character choice if you ask me. Grand Blue Fantasy has a lot of nice female characters, but they picked this dude instead. Yeah. Right, moving on to the next one here. Now we take a look at a few original characters that are kind of 18 plus. Kind of. They are actually 18 plus. So the first one here by Pure, 1x6 scale night dress, Chigusa Kujo, illustrated by Jack Dempa, 20,000 yen only. April release next year, and yes, this is cast off about the gold color parts, both top and bottom can cast it off. Just that the semi-realistic face of this character over here, not sure if I like it. And in fact, if I were to assume that this is not a cast off about figure, at first glance, I could have mistaken this figure for being a low-budget 8,000 yen figure from another Chinese brand. Yeah, so this is my way of saying that it is not a very sophisticated, not a very detailed looking figure, even for premium scale, but at least for a cast-off figure, it is only 20,000 yen, which is on the low side. Yeah, and Pure as a figure brand, I have no complaints about them. Their edgy figures are great. Yeah. Moving on to the next one here, also from Pure, we have 1x6 scale Seika Joga Queen Kotonbu Konin Sao Oji-san. Did you watch the H anime adaptation? Yeah, I did. I prefer that slim skinny girl, the one with short hair, and she looks slightly tanned. I think that is my favorite girl. The blonde one is not bad with big oppai, but I prefer that short hair girl for some reason. Yeah. So this one is the MILF of the group. There are 4 characters. This is the MILF amongst them. Rika Sumeragi, 24,500 yen by PR. Well, she is already barely dressed, even in its default form, so that is why the price is kinda low for an edgy figure. I'm happy to see this H-anime, the characters getting figures nowadays. I'm happy to see that. It wasn't a thing 5 or 7 years ago. And can someone please give us a figure of Irie from Onichichi? I want one. Right, moving on to the next one. 1/6 scale Chitomi Yoichi swimsuit version special edition by BV5. Just under 23,000 yen, August release next year. And of course, you're getting a wall scroll. The standard version would be going for 20,800 yen. And then there is something a bit odd about this edgy figure because the company has chosen to censor the lower part of the figure. The skirt is removable at least. And there is still like a black G-string of some kind. It is not completely Hadaka, right? They chose to censor the lower part of the figure but not the upper part. Even though her bikini is somewhat translucent, you can see the pink dot over there. So it got me thinking, is this a deal? Is this a trap? And the censored bottom part was supposed to be a big cannon. Yeah. And then I wasn't the only one thinking about this because someone in my Discord server asked the same question and I haven't found out the answer yet. Maybe I should check out the comments thread in myfigurecollection.net. Just go and read the comments. I might find an answer over there. Hey, even if it is a trap, you know what? It is still a very attractive character. Okay, moving on to the next one here from Awoko. We have a 1/6 scale belts. Deluxe edition comes with a raw scroll for 26,000 yen. Now this is very nice. I love this one. This is also customable both top and bottom. Standard version is going for 24,000 yen. I really love the way they painted the skin on this figure. The way they did the shading because this is a tense character in a way. Darker skin. And darker skin characters can look fantastic when it comes to anime figures in general because any shading that was done is more obvious, it is more apparent. For example, with fair skin, we usually do shading with pink or a little bit of orange, things like that. But with darker skin like this, the shading is usually darker colors, brown for example, so it is more obvious and it can look very detailed. I like the character a lot, but I'm not sure if I like her eyes specifically because the way her eyes are being shaped looks a bit different from the official artwork. And the actual official artwork looks a lot better. So I suggest that you check out the pictures, maybe zoom in. Yeah, I don't want to scroll through the pictures over here because I might end up with something I need to censor again, a lot of work. The face is something either you like or you don't like, I suppose. It is something subjective, but I had mixed feelings about her face, which is a bit unfortunate given that the rest of the figure looks amazing. Yeah. Moving up to the next one, another ecchi figure, 1/6 scale Umibe no NTR. Makoto Miyamoto by Elf Beach. 24,000 yen. I wanted to say it is pricey, but this is customable, and the way her tight bikini is squeezing her body parts, I don't think part swapping is even possible with this figure. Most likely we are getting an entire torso for the replacement. An entire torso in this case means an entire figure because there are no seam lines. I've noted an arm ring over here. That is where you normally separate the parts in the case of customable figures, but there are no rings around her legs or anywhere else. If you go through the pictures, the custom off version is quite different. It is like they are trying to be as realistic as possible. The Hadaka version, the oppai is sagging down a lot more because it is big, it is heavy. So most likely in this case, you are getting 2 entire figures. So the price is not bad at 24k, seriously. It would be weird if they give you this figure and a second one is everything except a missing head. That would be really weird. So I'm more inclined to believe you're getting 2 entire figures over here, but there are no direct pictures that suggest that to be the case. So yeah, not something I would buy personally because it is just a bikini figure in the end. Yeah, nothing too special. Moving on to the next one. Alright, from Kotobukiya, 1/6 scale Alicia Valfelto swimsuit. Art by Luisant, 23,000 yen, March, release next year. This is oddly aesthetic. For a very slender, very skinny girl. This is no longer just slender, this is skinny. I think the float is the saving grace of the figure because the figure would be quite bland otherwise. That orange float makes the figure look more colorful. Should you go for it? Well, 1/6 scale 23k is somewhat okay of a price. And I believe I've covered this figure at least 2 or 3 times by now. Kotobukiya events in February and also One Fest a few weeks ago. I do like it. I don't mind having one, but yeah, otherwise there really isn't much to see. Moving up next, we have a 1/6 scale Duisburg Endurance Training Gone Wrong version. By AmiAmi, 17,400 yen, July release. Alright, July next year, of course. So I have my very first AmiAmi Azur Lane figure review coming up this week. So to check that out, if you're interested in what the brand AmiAmi is like, in fact, I'm making this video because I have received quite a number of requests on what AmiAmi quality is like. So I'm doing it, right? I'm reviewing my first Azur Lane 1/6 scale figure by this brand over here. But a little bit of early spoiler, I would say that the quality about matched my early impressions with the brand when I saw pictures from other users who bought figures from this brand. And I would say that I can wholeheartedly recommend this brand. In fact, I see them as a cheaper alternative to outer Azur Lane figures. You know, they're kind of pricey. So this brand is like a cheaper alternative that is actually pretty good. So go for it. If you like her, go for it. And I just realized that this figure, this character, reminds me of W from Arknights. Right? The same silver hair with a red color strand over there. Seriously, I swear that these games, they're copying each other. They look at the competitor, another different game that is kind of popular, they look at the character designs and then they make a derivative of their own. I swear that is happening, man. Alright, moving on to the next one. Another 1/6 scale. This is a low budget figure by Kawa Design, a brand that I'm actually paying attention to, and I'm gonna buy their stuff in future for sure. I mean, so this is 1/6 scale Angel Nan Seiha Deluxe Edition, which comes with a raw scroll for 10,400 yen, and the standard version is 8,600 yen, releasing in April 2026. You know, for the longest time ever, a lot of Japanese companies have justified the high asking prices of some figures that has wings. For example, Albedo. Some Albedo figures can go over 30k, can hit even a 40k asking price. And the most common reason that we can think of is the wings, right? Because you need to make the molds for those parts and they're kind of detailed, so it costs money. But we have a figure with wings over here for 8,600 yen. I'm not even surprised anymore. If they want to keep the price down, they will always find a way to do it, I suppose. Yes, it looks extraordinarily detailed for a low budget figure. That is my early impressions for now based on these pictures alone. Okay, moving on to the next. These 2 figures are from last week. They are now available on HLJ. Last week it was AmiAmi only. So Hakoiwi Musume has this pair of figures over here. Artwork by Karori or Karomix. Go and check them out if you prefer to get them on HLJ. I'm not repeating myself again. They are made by Hakoiwi Musume, which makes both safe for work and not safe for work figures. Yeah, 22k each. Alright, and now we enter 1/7 scale territory, where I will revisit these 2 figures from last Saturday, where they went on pre-order before I could even manage to cover them. You know, like I finished recording my videos. I tend to record on late Friday, so anything that goes on Saturday, yeah, I have to wait until next week. This is Grand Blue Fantasy Silva Gentian Blue version by Apex Toys, 26K July release, and man, she looks fabulous. Jeez, I don't even collect Grand Blue Fantasy and I don't have any plans, but after seeing these pictures, man, I started asking myself, should I go for it? I saw this one comment in my video, in my review of Nikke Volume by Max Factory. I find it amusing, to say the least. Like, I could never understand people who buy figures without knowing who the character is. What you need to understand is that there are two kinds of figure collectors. The first type, the more common ones, they are people who collect characters. Right? People who collect characters, they look for their favorite character, they would buy merchandise related to the character. You buy your Hatsune Miku badge, you buy the acrylic stand, you buy a raw scroll of that very specific character, and then, yes, the figures as well. And then there is the second type of figure collector, which you can compare them to art collectors. You know, people who collect paintings that can go up to millions of dollars even though it looks like a random scribble to you, you know? Yeah. Or they collect very expensive antique stuff. Some anime figure collectors are like that, and I'm one of those people. We treat anime figures as artwork in a way, a sculpture. So as long we find it to be aesthetic looking to our taste, we will buy it. In fact, I would say that most 18 plus figure collectors, edgy figure collectors, they are collecting artwork as well. It is not like that SkyTube, that native figure you just purchased, comes from a famous game with 10 million active players. No, it is a random character by an artist, has no anime or game or manga to back it up, but it sells like hotcakes and becomes rare and expensive after release, right? They are artworks in a way. So I am of the latter kinds of figure collector. I collect art, in a sense. So I look at something pretty, I look at something detailed, I kind of want it. I did watch the anime adaptation of Grand Blue Fantasy though, but don't expect me to play the game because I don't have the time for it. Anyways, this is highly recommended. It is Apex Toys after all. I really respect this brand. They are churning out a lot of good stuff, and even though their prices are pretty much rivaling Japanese brands, at least the quality is there. Yeah. Moving on to the next one from last Saturday, Hatsune Miku Crystal Dress version by Cyber Agent, which is otherwise known as E-Stream and Shibuya Scramble figure. 25,500 yen, September release next year. I find it interesting that E-Stream and Shibuya Scramble figure used to churn out very expensive figures, 30k and up was common. Nowadays, they are staying in the 20 plus thousand yen price range. Between 20 to 30k, yes. So I find that to be interesting in the sense that maybe they're holding back. They are not going for those ultra premium figures anymore like they used to be. In fact, premium was a bit like their brand identity itself, but nowadays they're holding back quite a bit. And I don't find this Miku figure to be particularly that attractive. I think the one by Design Coco last week was a lot more desirable at around 27 or 28k, but yeah, that Miku had way too much blue. So, really depends whether you like the character design or not. There are so many versions of Miku. Moving up next, the new stuff this week. We really need to talk about this Nikke Red Hood figure over here from Flare. Yes, I get it. Inflation, tariffs, and so on, whatever the reasons, the excuses are. But can you justify 39,000 yen for a 1x7 scale figure? Granted, this is labeled as non-scale by Flare, but they are going to match the scale and the size of the figure to the existing Nikke figures that are already on pre-order. They have Clay and Bay, the ones in cheerleading outfit. They have Alice already out, which I reviewed, and I liked that figure. The size was roughly 1x7. So this is going to be roughly 1x7 as well, even though it is non-scale on paper. So I had to wonder if Flare is taking advantage of the popularity of this game, Goddess of Victory Nikke, at the moment, and increasing the prices this much because they know people would buy it anyway. Some people have told me they would pre-order it anyway because it is a different skin. The one made by Hobby Sakura, that is what I would advocate for. It is a 1x4, and even though it is more expensive than this one, at least you're getting better value for the money spent. But yes, it is a different skin in a way, different outfit. So some people will still want this figure, and I understand that. Just that, if this was 30,000 yen, yes, I would pick one up. But now we are encroaching into the 40,000 yen point over here. I think this is a tad bit too much. And it feels like Flare is taking advantage of, number one, the popularity of the game. And number two, the fact that it is an open secret by now that they are connected to Alter. Yes. By now, I think most seasoned figure collectors would know about this. So, my verdict for this figure is that it is grossly overpriced and I won't be pre-ordering it, but I will keep an eye on her until after release and see what the market price is like, because there is going to be a lot of uncertainty between the fourth quarter of this year and all the way throughout next year. We will discuss that in a separate video. Yes, a lot of uncertainty with anime figures in general. So, will you pre-order this? Or you'll wait? Let me know in the comments below. Yeah. Moving on to the next one here. Okay, 1x7 scale PT-chan by Mochi Works, 22,000 yen, April release next year, and obviously a customable edgy figure. I like the face a lot on this one. She looks like embarrassed, heavy blush on her face, and then she's like partially undressing. I would keep her clothes on. It is like a tease in a way, teasing you, right? You get to see a bit of the Hadaka parts and a bit of it are covered. So I prefer it that way rather than 100% Hadaka. So 22k for all of this. You get the mirror base over there. Yeah, this is great value. I like this more than the NTR figure earlier, the bikini one. Moving on to the next one here. Okay, Tori Damono original Mira Sunset version. That is a nice name for Sunset version. Okay, this is by Wonderful Works, just under 22,000 yen at 1x7 February release. So between this and the original version with the normal colors, I think this kind of tanned skin works really well for this character. Now suddenly she looks like a Gyaro. Like a lot more than the previous color combination. Yeah, and I'm not complaining. That suitcase or briefcase, more like luggage, not a suitcase, my bad. That luggage that comes with the figure looks a lot more premium now, black and gold after all. It screams luxury. And for a swimsuit figure, I am quite picky because swimsuit bikini, has been done to death, way too common, and they are way too simple. But this one is very detailed for a swimsuit version figure, so go for it if you like her. But Wonderful Works as a figure brand, they are fine. Not the best, but they are fine. I've reviewed only one figure from them, Mona Magisters from Genshin. Moving on to the next one here, one of the main highlights this week together with that Nikke figure earlier. So we have Shiroko Terror version from Blue Archive by Good Smile Company, just under 22,000 yen, September release 2026. I don't pre-order many Blue Archive figures, but this one is very tempting to me. But I will be a lot more careful with pre-ordering today, yeah. Will the price be in? I'm not sure, seriously, I'm not sure. But when we look at the brand in question over here, Good Smile Company, big company, the tendency of prices going up is a bit lesser, yes. And if that does happen, they would re-release it. I mean, you guys saw Nikke Scarlet getting an immediate re-release right after she came out because the demand is still there and the prices are definitely going up. So, for Blue Archive fans, I think this is a must-have. She looks amazing. But if you are on the fence, you're unsure, 50-50, maybe you can afford to wait, then wait. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one here. This is by AmiAmi, 1x7 scale Blue Archive Akko Memorial Lobby version, 24,000 yen, June release next year. Another example of a figure which looked very average, very unattractive during One Fest, and then now the official pictures look amazing, man. And yeah, people are already telling me I'm pre-ordering this. This is nice. Exceeded my expectations, man. So, who is manufacturing this figure for AmiAmi? I'm not sure, but This really looks like something that could have came from Apex Toys. Yeah, it is not like AmiAmi is making the figure themselves. They outsource the manufacturing to someone. Someone else is manufacturing it. Yeah. So this is worth pre-ordering as well, just like Shiroko earlier. Pick your poison. Moving on to the next one. Oh, this is a re-release. Overlord Albedo Hermes Trimegisters version by DMM Factory, 33,000 yen, January release. My opinion about this figure is simple. This is the best Albedo scale figure so far. And that is including every release that came out in the last 5 years or so, including Furyu's 40,000 yen Sobin version. That one was pretty trash, by the way. This is, in my opinion, the best Albedo figure. Well, part of it is my own bias where I love my girls to be detailed with weapon and armor on. So this is totally my kind of thing. And that base over there, icing on the cake, man. The base is stunning. So this one, getting a re-release, I'm not surprised at all. Yeah, go for it if you missed out the first release. This is worth it. Moving on to the next one, another incredible figure from Cyber Agent and Eastream. 1x7 scale Princess Connect Redive Carriel. 27,000 yen August release. I'm a bit surprised this is only 27,000 yen, not more than that. Yeah, given Eastream's history of pricing the figures really high, this is a lot of figure for 27k. There are a lot of stuff going on. You know, I tried watching the anime adaptation at least. I couldn't bring myself to watch it. I don't know why. Beautifully animated. Nothing quite wrong with it, but I suppose that it is not my kind of anime, not to my taste, I guess. But this figure, damn! This is a really good week of figure pre-orders. Moving up next, we have 1x7 scale Fire Emblem Three Houses Hilda by Intelligent Systems. 27,000 yen September release. You know that shield she's holding there? It looks kinda creepy. Is it made of alien parts? She defeated some UFOs and then reverse engineered the UFO into weapons. Yeah, kinda creepy, the design, but I still find the figure attractive because detail on her outfit, this object around her waist, what is it called again? Yeah, a corset. That corset over there, oh, a major detail point, I like it. Is that a shield or is that actually an axe? Oh no, that is not a shield, it is an axe. A weapon. Yeah. That has to be an alien part, man. Alright, looks really great, and if you want scale figures of Fire Emblem, guess what? Intelligent Systems is the only one to go for. Yes, I know there are good small pop upgrades of Fire Emblem figures, but if you paid attention, the name Intelligent Systems is also mentioned over there. I guess that they own the game. Yeah, that's why. Moving on to the next one, Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. Ranko Kanzaki grabbed that Oppai version because of her pose. I won't call it the dance version. By Wave Corporation, 20,700 yen, April release 2026. Maybe I should review that Ranko Kanzaki figure that I still have, my last IMAS figure by Alter. Yes, the big and expensive one. Maybe I should review that. Wait, the figure glows in the dark. Okay. Wow. Wow. I know that this sounds hypocritical of me. When I reviewed a Chinese figure from last year, I said that those glow-in-the-dark parts were kind of gimmicky and does not really have much point to it because you need to expose the figure or the paint rather to not UV light or blue light in order for the parts to glow in the dark. But this is incredible indeed. I mean, if the glow-in-the-dark paint can start glowing from exposure to any light source, not just UV light, then I wouldn't complain about it. Yes, but the kind that I reviewed was the type that you need to expose the figure to UV light, which you shouldn't do because that will damage the paintwork in the long term. So it really depends on what kinds of glow-in-the-dark paints, I suppose. I wasn't aware of this feature at all. This is a surprise to me. Kaede when? Kaede Takagaki, maybe next week, I think. Yeah. She comes in a pair with that figure. Moving on to the next figure here, we have Kill la Kill Ryuko Matoi Transformation version 1/7 scale by Good Smile Company, just 13,600 yen. That is a great price for a 1/7 scale. And I really wish that this trend would go on, you know, lower budget figures that are actually proper scale figures, not the low budget pop-up rate stuff. Yeah. You know, a 13,000 yen scale figure from Good Smile and an 8,000 yen pop-up rate L. There is a major difference. Yes, the quality is just different. A proper scale figure, you get this level of paintwork over here. Look at the gradients work on the skirt. It looks fantastic. I'm not even a fan of Kill la Kill, but I kinda want this figure just because, number one, it is cheap, and number two, I find her attractive. Yes. Moving on to the next one, Wandering Witch, The Journey of Elena by Elegant, 25,000 yen, August release. Right, 25k is great price for something like this. Umbrella and a unique base after all. Is this the best Elena figure so far, the scale? Maybe top 5 best. Top 5, yeah. I'm not sure if this is the best, but this is among the best looking Elena figure to go and pre-order in recent months or even the recent year. My favorite one is still the one by Good Smile. That one is pretty expensive. The one that comes with a big luggage as well. Moving on to the next figure here, we have a re-release of Marin Kitagawa from My Dress Up Darling swimsuit version. 12,600 yen, releasing in September 2026. Man, by then the anime will have finished airing by a year. Or maybe a season 3 is in the works. They are already planning a season 3. You see, the thing with anime figure companies, they have insider information that even normal people like us may not know until they are formally announced. That is, right? I don't keep tabs on anime news in general, but if season 3 was already confirmed, then great. But if it isn't, maybe there are plans to do so. And once again, these figure companies working behind the scenes with the industry, with the anime industry, they know something that we don't. Yeah. To me, it is a bit too late to re-release this thing when season 2 is already ongoing halfway and will finish airing in 2 months' time. So to have this figure released a year later, something is up. Yeah. If you don't have any Marin Kitagawa scale figure yet, check out the ones by Alter and Aniplex. Good Smile is not even a comparison among the best Marin Kitagawa figures out there. It is nice to have, it is cheap, but the best ones at the moment, yeah, Alter and Aniplex. The one by Max Factory, the school uniform one, that is also fine, but also far from the best. Right, moving on to the next one by 8 scale Kotobukiya at FXJ, Naito Mudano from Tougen Anki, 15,000 yen, February release next year. Wow, a metal rod shoved up his ass. I had to give the figure a careful look for a second time. I thought it was a bar stool, which I mistook for a metal rod being shoved up his butt, but yeah, appears that it is the case over here. He is on rollers, it can't be a bar stool. Also an ongoing anime series, I haven't started watching it yet because it is lacking in pretty women with big oppai or maybe lollies. Either is fine really. Handsome dudes are a bit less of an incentive to watch it, even though I have heard good things about the anime. Yeah. So moving up next, we have Gundam. What? Gundam Guys Generation? Huh? Gundam Girls Generation, right? For Murasame is a girl. Wow, what a mistake by HLJ. I'm quite sure GGG is Gundam Girls Generation. I covered this figure last week. Yes, I covered her already by Mega House 22K, and I think she looks quite nice. The next one here, actually new this week, Yamato Girls Collection Star Blazers Space Battleship Yamato 2202. Okay, Yuki Mori Private Coordinate RE. Whatever that is, by Mega House. 16,000 yen, December release, this December. Man, Space Battleship Yamato, that is old, man. How old is this anime? But it has a lot of fans, that's for sure. And 16k for this is fine, but I would expect the figure to be roughly 1/8 scale, not even close to 1/7. Mega House is always like that. Yeah, they must have copy and pasted the title over here. Gundam Guys Generation, yeah, for Camille be done. Gundam Guys, yep. 19,000 yen, February release. They need to give him an angry face. The kind of face he makes and tries to punch you when you call him a girl, or rather the name Camille sounds like the name of a girl. Moving up next, we have low budget figure, 1/7 scale Aojiro Heavy no Iro Deluxe Edition, 9,000 yen by Siki Anime. You get the whole scroll over there. Standard version is going for 8,000 yen. I have a Siki Anime scale figure review coming later this month, I think, because it is part of my next figure haul for this month, August. So another new brand to check out, a Chinese brand. Not exactly new, they have like 3 or 4 figures out by now, but that would be my first time buying their figure. This one, I mean, I like my girls with weapons, with swords. I might consider it after release, not pre-ordering it too early. So if you want to know what the quality of this brand is like, yeah, stay tuned to this channel by subscribing. Then when I roll out the review, you are well updated. It is just one click away, the subscribe button. Moving up next, okay, we have a couple of kinda low budget figures from Kadokawa. They are actually fairly expensive because this figure of Megumin here, light novel, cat girl made version, is actually the size of a pop-up parade. The normal pop-up parade around 17-18 centimeters, making them roughly 1/10 scale. So 12,000 yen for 1/10 scale is not exactly budget. Yeah. Given that, you know, the normal pop-up parade is half the price. So I'm not sure why I just called it budget price. It really isn't. And the next one here, we have Yun Yun light novel Negligi version, 12,000 yen. Yeah, these 2 figures, including Megumin, is meant to go with the other 2 figures that went on pre-order weeks ago, that Darkness and Aqua over there. Also 12,000 yen each. In my opinion, not worth it. Moving on to the next one over here, pop-up parade Sang Jinwoo L size from Solo Leveling, 8,000 yen. So with a protagonist as overpowered as this dude over here, pop-up parade L is about the most you'll get, and maybe a tiny tall. Yes, you won't ever see a proper scale figure, a premium one. If you want one of those figures, a premium figure of this handsome Korean oppa over here, then you need to look at third parties, because there are third parties making figures of him, together with his familiars even. Yeah. I wanted to discuss about Solo Leveling, but no, this video is getting pretty lengthy because of so many new figures this week. Moving on to the next one, we have Dig Star Like a Dragon Yakuza Goro Majima Fierce Battle. We released 8,600 yen, January release. Yeah, tiny figures. Seems to be pretty popular, this title, Like a Dragon. Yeah. Moving on to the next one, we have Dragon Ball Z Bulma Limited Reprint Edition by Mega House, 7,800 yen, January release. I don't know what is the size or dimension of this thing, but going by the price, it has to be tiny, but it looks great, you know? Imagine this whole figure, but being made into a larger scale, 1/7 or 1/6, that would be amazing. Yeah, but it would go over 30,000 yen if it was done by Mega House, and I don't think there are any other brands who will make genuine licensed Dragon Ball figures other than Bandai and Mega House. Moving on to the next one here, the last 2 figures are Mega House GEM series Haikyuu. Shoyo Hinata second uniform version, and also Tobio Kageyama. God, this Tobio Kageyama looks terrible. Like, the details are kind of lacking in a sense that I don't know why. Maybe because of the character design, Hinata looks a bit sharper, while the details on Tobio Kageyama is kinda blunted in a way. Yeah, especially the hair and even the folds on the outfit is not as prominent. But these are tiny, palm-sized figures, so there is a limited amount of detail they can squeeze into the figure. especially at this price point. And that is all for Hobby Link Japan. Now we move on to AmiAmi for some limited or exclusive items. So the first one right here, we have Code Geass, the new one. I'm lazy to read the title. Catherine Sabatra's bunny version by Freeing, 39,600 yen, March 2026 release. It is nice, you know, it is a nice bunny girl figure. Unfortunately, it had to be a limited and exclusive for AmiAmi, which means you won't get any discounts, and that price is pretty steep for a 1x4 scale bunny figure. Moving on to the next one, Mega House Lucria, Mushoku Tensei Roxy Migodia. You know, I thought this was a small figure when I saw it in One Fest, but no, this is a proper 1x7 scale figure at 27,000 yen by Mega House March release as well. I hate to say this, but this is among the best Roxy Migodia figure already, and I wouldn't expect this from Mega House. I still regard Q-Skill, I guess, the one by Q-Skill, to be among the best Roxy Migodia figure, but this one is like top 3 best. I think I'm being attracted to the paintwork on the hair. The gradient paintwork looks really nice, and the base over here, yeah, pretty attractive overall. And the pose, who can complain about it, right? Just the right amount of fan service. So this is a great pre-order actually, as long as you don't mind paying a premium for it just because of the AmiAmi exclusive status. And it is also rare for Mega House to do 1x7. Mega House loves doing non-scale on paper, and then they adjust the size of the figure based on the price they're planning to sell it for, which means you often get 1x8 instead of 1x7 equivalent. Moving on to the next one, we have Hatsune Miku and Wing Gundam collaboration. Yeah, it is an anniversary for Gundam Wing. This Miku is going for 27,500 yen, really pricey, and releasing in June next year. The size of the figure, dimensions, it is actually a 1x7. 27 cm, that is great. I'm so afraid each time I see non-scale from Mega House. I knew it is going to be small. 27 cm is fine. That is definitely Wing Gundam Zero's wings over there. I hate to say this, but this is actually a really amazing Hatsune Miku figure, along with the military uniform over there. I did not expect Mega House to drop 2 or 3 amazing scale figures this week. Moving on to the next one, another AmiAmi exclusive. We have Persona 5 Royal Kasumi Yoshizawa, just under 20,000 yen. February release. Is this a re-release? I think this figure came out before, right? Of course, I don't remember clearly, just that the figure looks very familiar to me, you know? This has to be a re-release, man. Yep. I still prefer Amakuni for Persona figures, but this is not bad either. Moving on to the next one, we have, Gintama, Ginpachi Sensei. Okay, 17,600 yen, January 2026 release. There is an anime airing this season that is very similar to Gintama in terms of the humor and the comedy. Detectives nowadays are crazy. Go and watch it. Yes, and the ending song is very catchy. I love it. So I'm having fun watching that show. It is really like a Detective Conan version of Gintama, if anything. Yeah. This figure, right? I look at his tuxedo. Is it tuxedo or is it just a coat? Whatever. Man, the details are kind of sad. I feel like I'm looking at a slightly better priced figure. Yeah, but the price reflects that, I suppose. Moving on to the next one, we have this bust figure over here. Puchirama DX Hell's Paradise, Jigokuraku. 16,000 yen only. Tiny, right? I'm surprised that it is still relevant. The whole thing is only under 15 centimeters. It is tiny. I'm surprised this is still relevant, being a seasonal anime, for Mega House to bother making something of it. Moving up next, okay, the last 2 figures are in AmiAmi's mature content section. So the first one here, this Nun figure over here I've covered last week on HLJ, so I won't go through again. But there is one single new figure this week. Barney Stein Fantasy Lady Holsteiner version Pimax. 1/6 scale by Pink Cat, just under 30,000 yen. Now for a cow outfit character, at least it is not a mere bikini. It is a unique character design and it looks kinda nice. This is your textbook MILF character, and I can see how this figure is going to sell quite well. This kind of MILF style ecchi figures are always very popular. They keep making them because they actually sell. So that would be all for AmiAmi. Now we move on to our last stop for genuine figures, Nin-Nin Game, to check out Forge Japan and Be Full figures in sight as well. 6 of them this week. The first one, Idol Misaka Nemu 1/5 scale. This is under Forge Japan because it is like a safe for work figure. You can't cast it off, but the pose is kinda suggestive, so I had to scribble on the image a bit. 20,000 yen, 1/5 scale, great value, I know, great price, but when you do get a figure and you get to see it in person, then you will understand why it is so cheap. I can't recommend them. There is a Hidaka version over here under Insight, 24K, 1/5 scale. Less details but higher price because there are a lot of dry men out there willing to pay for it. Releasing in February next year. The third one here, okay. So, this Manabe-san went on pre-order last week. I covered her already. This is under Insight Hadaka and 24,000 yen. This week, we have a new one here. Not exactly new, but the safe for work version of that Manabe-san earlier by Forge Japan. 24K at 1/5 scale, releasing in February as well. This is pretty bland for lolly figure. The next one here is Isekai Dark Elf Saryuna 1/6 scale by Insight, 22K. Yeah, this is not safe for work. Can see the big pink dot over there on the chest. It is such a shame, you know. Her face is cute. It is very attractive, but everything else, plus the brand Insight, big no. And the last figure for the genuine section would be Big Oshiri Elf Miria 1/5 scale, 22,000 yen, releasing in February as well. Man. Right, no comment from me. And that is all for genuine figures section for this week. Now I move on to third-party resin figures, making use of OSGK, which is also this channel's partner for the third-party resin figure section. If you're planning to purchase or pre-order anything from HLJ or OSGK, please to make use of my links down in the descriptions to enter these websites. That is how you support this channel without paying a single cent in extra in any of your purchases. Also, sometimes you'll see a pop-up on the top right corner of a video. You can also click on those buttons to enter. It works the same way. For this week, there's something really interesting going on. We don't have any Anya figures. So I have rearranged things a little bit. So the first section over here would be like original characters, regardless of the scale. The first one here, this is not exactly original character, but more of a Chinese origin character from Jade Dynasty. Jin Ping licensed resin figure by Shi Yue Wu Tong Studio. Okay, this is 1/4 scale, $629, releasing in March 2026. Oh, comes with a tree. I'm not sure if I like a floating window like that. If it was an entire wall with a window in it, that would look a lot more normal. But I guess that my mind is not open enough. I'm not open-minded enough to appreciate abstract or stylistic art, I suppose. It is weird to me. You see the texture on this vase over here? This vase over here? Yeah. The kinds of detail you get with resin figures. Very Chinese as a figure. The character design and everything. Moving on to the next one from Very Cool, we have a 1/6 scale action figure, an NPC as I call it. You collect your Marvel, DC, Iron Man, Captain America and so on, 1/6 scale action figures. And then you have these random characters wearing military outfit or some other outfit. I call them NPCs. So this one is Desert Female Soldier Talia. Something like this for $176 is Yeah, just right, I suppose. And she comes with a bunch of accessories. I couldn't put the pictures on screen because they are showing Hadaka pictures of the figure without any clothes on as well. So with this kind of figures, I like them because there are no ugly lines on the joint area, which I absolutely despise, be it Revoltech or Figma or any kinds of action figures. Well, unless it is a mecha character, mecha musume, or a science fiction theme, then I don't mind it as much. On the other hand, the negative about this kind of seamless joints is that, yeah, the range of articulation is more limited. And if you force things, who knows, one day you might end up damaging or creating cracks in the artificial polyurethane skin that covers the figure. Moving on to the next one here. Okay, now we enter the anime character section. So the first one here, One Piece Nami by XDD Studio, $130 US, no release date yet. This is, I don't know, man. I mean, it still looks like Nami, but is it a little bit too skinny? Is Nami this skinny? I guess that she is always wearing those blue color jeans, I couldn't tell. Yeah, a bit on the skinny side, but still looks fine. I still prefer figures of her in a trademark striped bikini and jeans. The next one here, another Nami figure, 1x7 scale, $130, no release date, just swimsuit, bikini, and not much else. I think the figure cost like $70, and then the base is responsible for the rest of the cost. It is a simple swimsuit figure. What is up with that excessive base over there? Just leave her sitting on that trunk over there. The entire white color, what do you call that? White color thing over there is not needed. It is unnecessary, man. Yeah, this could have been a $110 figure with a smaller base that doesn't take up too much space. Otherwise, her face looks great though. Moving up next, you know, I rarely like or show interest in One Piece figures, but this thing is incredible. I almost want it for myself. The problem is the price. TY Studio, Tianyan Studio, their figures are actually excellent, in case you guys did not know. This is a brand I can vouch for. So they have made this Nico Robin figure over here at $328, 1x6 scale, December release. I think we can see why the figure is so pricey. I think the price is justified, but still, wow. This is one of the nicest Nico Robin resin figures I've seen in the world. I mean, I see these things almost every week. Every week we have One Piece stuff going on pre-order. Same thing with characters like Boa Hancock and Nami. We get a lot of the figures, but this is among my favorites of many Nico Robin figures I've seen in the past 6 months or even 1 year. This is amazing. Moving up next, we have ZQ Studio Dragon Ball Chi-Chi. So if I put an Oni mask on her face, we get Oni Chi-Chi. $102, you get her in purple color dress or primary color dress. Let's have a look. Oh, purple color. Is that purple? This is more like blue though. This is blue, not purple. Okay, what about the primary color version? Okay, I think I understand what is going on. This blue color is actually the primary color, and then when I click on purple, nothing has changed because there are no pictures yet. Oh, there we go. This is purple, this is blue. Yep. So which one do you think looks better? I like the purple one. I mean, both are kinda similar, but I am leaning towards the purple one a bit more. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one here from K9 Studio with Dan, Takakura Ken, and Momo Ayase and Turbo Granny. $494, no release date yet. 3 figures for $500 is fine actually. Wow. These are the kinds of figure that genuine brands are unlikely to make. For all of the popularity I've seen regarding the anime Dan, yeah, not many genuine PVC figures are coming out. Not too many. I like it as a diorama kind of figure. Like, you're getting a scene, right? A scene taking place. Something like a screenshot you see in an anime. Yeah, it is nice. Okay, up next we have YQY Studio Jujutsu Kaisen, the white hat axe wielding woman Mei Mei. $262 with DLC. Without DLC, $249 must be an extra part. Let's have a look. DLC includes replacement head and crow. Alright, 2 different head sculpt. The price difference is so little, might as well go all out in this case. Oh, that is a nice axe. I like it. Ooh. My kinds of thing, the detail. Oh, their face looks amazing, man. Right, $262 sounds about right, and the base is also very attractive. No release date yet. Moving up to the next one here, we have 2 figures of AmiAmi Ray, the first one here by SX Studio. $345, no release date yet. And there are LEDs apparently. Maybe for the lamps of the bike, I think. Which is awesome, you know. Like, I also have die-cast models of motorcycles and I don't get to light them up. Oh yeah, at this price, it may feel expensive, but not only are you getting the bike, you're getting 2 figures of Ray as well. I'm not sure if it is 2 figures, I hope it is, but at least you're getting 2 entire torsos, so the price is somewhat reasonable to say the least. Now, this is what I want to see when they combine Rei and Asuka with a motorcycle. Many brands have done this. Like, there was another different brand that I covered a couple of weeks ago maybe. They tried to fake the Ducati name, I think. Yeah, Ducati. They put some other name that sounded like Ducati, but there was a misspelling. And I did not like that because it feels like counterfeiting a well-established brand. I would rather the bike to be completely unbranded or completely customized for the specific character. So with this brand over here, they customized it for AmiAmi Ray. This is the kind of direction I want to see from third parties, right? Don't try to counterfeit or use brand names like Yamaha, Ducati, and so on, Suzuki. Nah, customize them this way. That is fantastic. Alright, the next AmiAmi Ray figure here is by Dango Studio. Can't say I can recommend this. This is like no difference from most PVC figures of her wearing her black suit, so less incentive to pay almost $190 for this one. But the face looks good for sure. Yeah, the face sculpt and everything, like, there is nothing wrong with this figure at all. Just that, yeah, there are better options out there, I suppose. PVC figures, you know, yeah, that wear the same outfit. Alright, moving on to the next one, we have Pink Soul Studio Nana Osaki and Ren Honjo. 2 figures for $326, March release. Oh, Nana is pretty, man. This title, Nana, a manga, is gaining quite attraction recently among third parties for some reason. There was an OVA adaptation, but it was really old by now. I did not watch it. So, yeah, recently we are getting quite a few resin figures. This one, I really like it. In fact, it looks kind of photogenic. This feels like something I would see in a fashion magazine cover, right? Yeah. I like it for that reason. Moving on to the next one, wow. We have Ram from ReZero being screwed over by that guy. I can't remember that guy's name. But yes, I remember him. I did watch the anime after all. $188 for Ram and Tentacles. That is not bad of a price. And the way they implemented the backdrop over there with that character over there, it is genius. I think it is very well executed. And nowadays, you know, we don't get many cultured figures like this. So if you like it, for once, I'll tell you to pre-order a third-party Ram figure. I normally don't tell you to do that because there are so many genuine figures of Ram already, but this is the kind of third party that you should get. Moving on to the next one, now we enter into game characters section. The first one here, Spirit Demon Studio Animal Crossing New Horizons Ankha. $249 at 1/6 scale, December 2025 release. Those of you who love furries are going to love this. So Spirit Demon Studio has a bunch of Pokemon figures with a similar concept, ready to make babies with you. Very funny, right? This brand over here is doing something very different compared to the rest. And I really do appreciate their creativity, even though it is not the kind of figures I would get. Moving up next, we have Wake Studio Metroid Samus Aran, $611 at 1x6, I think. 1x4. It is a 1x4. Damn. It is actually a good price considering what you are getting. June 2026 release. All of these in 1x4 scale. This thing is massive, man. Yep. Wow. Hot damn. And yeah, you get a bust figure of some kind, a separate stand in a way for the additional head sculpt, so you can swap between the two. This should be the way, yeah. So this is an excellent figure for sure. I think you can go for it if you like. This thing over here, I have no idea what this character is, but I've seen Good Smile, I think Good Smile and some other brands make action figures of this character before. Moving up next, we have the main highlight this week, at least to me. Fate Stay Night Rider Medusa by TY Studio again. Seeing TY Studio being the ones making this figure can feel free, feel safe to go for it. And for the longest time ever, I have always requested for proper PVC scale figure of Rider. We never got any. The last one was from before 2010 or so. Good Smile did make one, and there was another Japanese brand that is no longer a thing today, Embrace Japan. They also had a Rider scale figure. So that was about it. Since then, we have only gotten prize figures from Sega. So if there is a dream Rider Medusa scale figure that I would like to see made, it would be Rider Medusa riding on her unicorn. Or is it Pegasus? I can't remember. A Pegasus, right? Basically, her Noble Phantasm. The whole thing being made into a scale figure. If it is 1x8, fine. 1x7 would be ideal, but I understand that it would be very big and expensive. 1x8 is also acceptable. That would be amazing. Basically, what we saw in the third movie of Heaven's Feel, where she was using her Noble Phantasm against Saber Alter, that being made into a figure. That would be fantastic. I don't mind if it was made by Kyosuke or Amakuni or Alter, but seeing that Kyosuke has made a Saber figure, Saber Alter, not Saber, Lancer Alter figure, Lancer Ultra Alter on a horse, and they also made a Passion Deep, giant FGO figures are their kinds of thing. I'm betting on Kyosuke to give us a figure like that of Rider Medusa. Though I understand why the reason they are not making it is because probably in Japan itself, Rider is not very popular as a servant. So at this point, I would regard this to be the best Rider Medusa figure out there. And unfortunately, it has to be a third party. We are indeed getting a separate head sculpt. They have a teaser picture over here. Yeah, without that blindfold. And I think I would display her without the blindfold. You can't see much. Yeah, this is a teaser pic of some kind. My favorite third-party figure this week. Moving on to the next one from Honkai Star Rail, we have Castoris by SDY Studio, $230, December release. We get so many Castoris figures now. Castoris is like the new Kafka, you know? For third parties. Suddenly, many people stopped making Kafka, and then now they moved on to Castoris. And I suppose that when Apex Toys does make a scale figure of Castoris, then the third party would stop making it as well. This is fine. Probably not the best Castoris third party figure I've seen, but nothing to complain at the same time. Looks great. Moving on to the next one here from ACGN Studio, we have Grand Blue Fantasy Vikala, $292 at 1x7. I suspect ACGN Studio is the same studio as ACG Studio, which was a very common name we used to see before, the apocalypse happened to the world of resin figures, and I mean the Chinese police going after edgy figures, of course. So before this apocalypse of resin figures, ACG Studio was a common name. I keep seeing them every week. And they loved recasting existing GKs, basically bootlegging, except their figures are no bootleg quality. Just like what Cast Design Studio and also a number of other studios are doing right now, Dragonstone Studio as well. So the reason why I suspected this is a recast GK, number one, it is 1/7, not 1/8. Number two, these pictures over here, they look oddly similar to those limited edition GKs from OneFest for some reason. Right? Normally, they would give us CGI images or official product images of the figure and then take pre-orders based on those pictures. But this is another thing that really raised a red flag to me in the sense that they did not have any official product pictures. All they have is a finished figure just like that. And then they're taking the pictures on a random desk, not in studio, not proper lighting and stuff like that. So I'm more inclined to believe that this is like an existing GK. Yeah, not that I have any evidence to back it up. This is purely my suspicion, but I think that could be the case over here. Anyways, based on what I have observed from you guys, I think most people don't really care because you guys are very frustrated that these figures are so limited that you will never get an opportunity to purchase them even if you had the money and you wanted them no matter what. So you could justify this sort of practice. I know that from a moral standpoint, it is not a good thing. Ethics standpoint, it is a bad thing. It is bootlegging after all. But unfortunately, for most people out there, the collectors, they don't really care. Yeah. Moving up next, we have Nikke by Casting Dream Studio. This is Killer D, right? Yep. D Killer Wife. Okay. $260 December release. I feel like I've seen this picture before. It was more of maybe an Azur Lane or a Blue Archive character wearing a very similar dress and then having wine next to a bar top like this, and then they modified it to fit a different character. I think that is what happens over here. Unfortunately, I don't see this being a good purchase, to be honest, because we have two or three Killer D figures coming from genuine brands itself. So why bother with this one? It is different for sure. Oh, cast off. Okay. Now you have a reason to get it. I wasn't aware that this is customable. Alright. I would still focus my budget on the genuine figures first. Moving up next, we have this figure over here of Ichinose Asuna from Gumeng Studio from Blue Archive. $194, great price, man. The whole package here at 1/6 scale for $194 is a great price. June release next year. So this figure went on pre-order last Saturday, so I could only cover her this week. I think this is already one of the best looking Asuna figures out there among third parties. The way they nailed the face and the hair over there, spot on. Beautiful. Yeah. Of course, the ones by Dodomo Studio are even better, just that they are stuck in limbo. They are still alive, they are still making figures, just that heavily delayed and many of them are getting censored anyway. So I would treat this figure to be on even ground, on equal ground as the ones by Dodomo Studio. So in that regard, I think this is just as good looking. Yeah, I'm not even factoring in the cast off parts anymore. $194 is a great price. And her face, oh, beautiful. Moving on to the next one here. This is why people play Blue Archive, isn't it? Lollies without any clothes on. By Ironbird Studio, we have this Lost Hina Surasaki, $166 at 1/6 scale December release. Yep, Lolly wearing a birthday suit. Pretty much that. So I couldn't show much, especially the back half of the figure, but I can see this one being kinda popular for obvious reasons. And the face is really good as well. I have no complaints about her face. Her face looks amazing. Just that if I have an opinion, I still feel like $166 is kinda pricey. given the simplicity of the figure, and being a lolly character, it is a small figure. Unless you're getting cast off features, which is not happening because this figure is not marked as 18+. So there is no cast off, unfortunately. This is all you get. Moving up to the next one here, we have Ryoge Kisaki. Yeah, the Chinese Jiangshi Zombie by Morco Studio, $154, December release. Morco Studio already has a bunch of Blue Archive figures out there, already released at a low price, and most of them are widely sold out. You can't even buy them if you don't pre-order early. So if you want it, pre-order early, right? I have a few regrets over there. Like the figures I want, I couldn't get them anymore. I do have some regrets, lingering regrets from not pre-ordering early because there is a limit to how many figures I can pre-order. I couldn't get those anymore unless I buy the bootlegs. Yes, these figures over here, these resin figures are getting bootlegged. You're looking at $20, $30 PVC figures. So the Chinese are bootlegging the Chinese themselves. Moving on to the next one. This is actually a licensed figure, but I am going to cover it early because of how interesting this thing is. Basically, this figure of Koharu, the sensor version, it really reminds me of every Doro figure that went on pre-order in the recent weeks. Which is to say, this is a bit like a meme character that is being transformed, being made into a figure, and it is genius. Sure, the companies that make this, they won't be making much money. These are cheap figures. $23 over here, but guess what? They are going to sell in big numbers. And if there is only one problem I can see with this figure, I wish that there are two versions, which are basically mirror images of each other. So this Koharu is holding the censorship sign towards her right side, and I also want one towards the left side. This is a shame in my opinion, because they could have made a mirrored version, an opposite version, basically like a pair of Koharu figures from opposite directions with the same pose. Yeah, I would pay double for it. I would pay $46 for it. Let's say I display an anime figure with an oppa exposed, and then I can put this Koharu figure in front, covering it, holding this sign. Right? But that is for one oppa. The other oppa, I need another Koharu on the other side. So I think this is missed opportunity. Should have given us two different versions, and then we get to choose to get either or get both. Yeah. This is a must-have. Just like Doro, must-have. Moving on to the next one here, Poco Poco Studio has this Boo Boo. Is the name really Boo Boo? From Snowbreak Containment Zone, $188 and 1/6 scale, March 2026 release. So far, my feelings about Snowbreak Containment Zone characters, it is more of a mixed feeling. I feel like there are some characters that I really like, not many, like 2 or 3 characters that I like, while the rest are just okay in a sense. Meanwhile, for this figure over here, this kind of pose is not new, being tied to a cross. I've seen this so many times with third-party figures. So $188 is fine for the whole package. And no, you can't cast off as well with this one, despite the very suggestive pose over there. The next figure here from Wuthering Waves of Jinsei at 1/6 scale by Yami Studio, $266, December release. I wish that these companies would stop giving us pictures this dark. Yes, I can still see the figure, but it is way too dark. She looks great, but not my favorite Jinsei figure. There was another brand that did it better. Can't remember the name of the brand, but you can search for Jinsei on OSGK and you're bound to find it. There is this statue of a dragon behind her, and she's in this fetal position pose, right, hugging her knees. I think that was the best Jinsei figure. That one was available in 1/6 and 1/4. This one looks fine, but not the best one. And the last figure for this week would be 15 Studio Zenless Zone Zero Vivian. So this is a 1x4, $558, and it is actually customable. Yes. No comments, man. I don't even know what to say. I'm kinda tired after talking for so long. So many figures on pre-order this week. It still feels kinda expensive, even with the cast-off parts, but hey, we don't get many Zenless figures at 1/4. So that is all for figures on pre-order this week. Which one will you pre-order? Let me know down in the comments below. And until then, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you soon for more figure reviews this coming week. And until then, goodbye.